My bad. Skinny Hardaway Southern T back with another EP. Let me sound check this real quick, y'all. Let me sound check this real quick. Y'all do your voice. How we gonna make this swiftly as possible, right? I'm gonna try to do this within 15 to 20 minutes, no longer than 25, because I got a UFC video to do as well. We're gonna get both of those out tonight. We're gonna get the week started off right. First things first, do your boy a favor. If it's your first time, don't make it your last time. Hit that subscription button there as well. We talk these good boxing, MMA, sports, parlays, predictions every single day, and not just today, right? Today we're here with a boxing EP again. I'm gonna make this swiftly. I got about 4 fights I want to talk about mainly. I also want to talk about, a couple more fights that I don't necessarily have odds for just yet, right? Boxing is back, right? This is the first big boxing weekend back since the break rolling over into the new year, right? So we got Carlos Ocampo. I got somebody dropped in already. Home record knee knocker said Ocampo beats Walsh for the upset, right? So my guy home record, right? I already told you off the walk. He's taking Ocampo for the win. You know what I mean? Right? We gonna talk about it. We gonna talk about it. Right? We gonna talk about Ocampo versus Callum Watts, which is the Friday card. Couple fights on that Friday card. Uh, I want to hit on, right? And also we're gonna talk about the Saturday card, the bigger one, Cruz versus Cheese Muratalla, right? Big boxing is back to start off the year. It feels like. Shout out Jake Paul. He been holding us down, you know what I mean, with these cards to get us through the break. Salute you with the women's boxing, his card himself, right? Back to big major boxing title implications, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, this is for a title. Cheese is the champ, right? If I'm mistaken, right? Cheese is the champ. All right, let's double check that. Right? Is this for the title? If I'm not mistaken, Raymond Muratalla is the champ, right? So this will be for the strap. Andy Cruz is getting his shot at gold, right? Interim, right? He's the interim. Okay, Muratalla, that's what it was. I knew Muratalla had some sort of bear, right? Muratalla is the interim strap, right? So it is for a title, right? It's for the interim IBF strap. Yep, for the interim or IBF strap or cheesy strap, just had to make sure, right? So the winner of this fight more than likely will begin the title shot next, right? So big implications, you know what I mean, for that fight, 12 round championship fight. This is going to be Andy Cruz's, both of these guys, right? This is going to be both of these guys step up fight in a sense, right? Andy Cruz pro step up, right? And Raymond Maritalla's, step up as well. Maritalla has had some decent fights, you know what I mean, in his past, but this most definitely will be the best opponent that Raymond Cheese Maritalla has faced, and also Cruz, right? This will be the best opponent I think that Andy Cruz has had to face, right? Young guy in his prime, hungry, uh, dreams of being a champ, right? And Andy Cruz is in his way. Kalia versus Jesse Hart is also on this card, right? That fight was supposed to happen a few months back. Got pushed back to this card, right? So we're going to get that. I think that's the co-main event. We got Madrimov also on this card. He's fighting Salazar, right? And also Amari Jones, the Olympian, right? I think he won silver. Could have been the silver or the bronze. Might have won the bronze. Amari Jones. Amari Jones is also fighting on this card, right? Don't get odds for Amari Jones fight just yet, right? But this would be like his what, third or fourth fight or something like that, right? So he don't got a whole lot of fights. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be somebody, just kind of get his feet wet, keep him active. You know what I mean? Boxing Wiz, what's good? Appreciate you sliding through this thing. Shout out my guy, Boxing Wiz. My guy, Boxing Wiz, just dropped in. He said, wash. Wait, he said, wash plus Cruz equals the bag. No, he said, wash plus Cruz bag, right? I put the equals in there. But what's good, Boxing Wiz? Appreciate you sliding through. He said, wash plus Cruz bad, right? We about to talk about it. I didn't waste it, 5 minutes, right? That was the intro. I had to get out the intro, walk you out into this thing, um, right? But we can go ahead and start, right? We'll start with the Friday card, right? I'm gonna keep the main thing, Right, so I'm gonna start with the main event. We'll go ahead and start with the topic that you guys are talking about in the chat. Had one person come in and say Calvin Walsh for the win, right? Had another person come in and say um uh Ocampo for the win, right? Kane Sandoval and Julian Rodriguez is also fighting on that card, right? And what I think is going to be a great fight. I don't got odds for that fight just yet, right? But you got Sugar Sandoval. That's gonna be a great fight, man. That's gonna be a step up fight for both of those guys. Julian Rodriguez, maybe you know, maybe you don't, right? But Julian Rodriguez is the guy who just beat Avius Griffin. Avius Griffin is a Jake Paul, you know what I mean, fighter prospect, right? Speaking of Jake Paul, right? Boom, one of his fighters took his first loss. He has had a bounce back knockout win since then, right? This is the guy that beat him, and he's going to be fighting Kane Sandoval, um, right? Julian Rodriguez is 24-1, 15 KOs, has been stopped once himself, 5'9" with a 68.5-inch arm reach. And he's coming off that knockout stoppage win in the 10th round over Avius Griffin. Right now, Avius Griffin has since said that he didn't have his best camp for that fight, didn't prepare the best, right? So, was it that, or is Rodriguez just the real deal? He's fighting Kane Sandoval. Now, Kane Sandoval is a great prospect, right? But this is going to be a step up for Kane Sandoval. He did fight Javier Molina in 2024, right? So that will be his one, big name fight, right? So that'll be his experience fight. Javier Molina is, a veteran of the game. He'll be stepping there with Julian Rodriguez. Now, this fight, I'm leaning Kane Sandoval, right? So on the final pick video, make sure you check in for the final pick. Sandoval is 5'8" with a 71-inch arm reach, right? So he has a three. Yeah, he's 1 inch shorter than Rodriguez, but he has a 3-inch arm reach advantage over Rodriguez. My bad if I skipped over that. But I'm leaning Sandoval in there, right? So Sandoval will be the pick. Not sure if it's going to be a knockout or distance just yet. Make sure you check the final picks video later, right? But right now, I'm leaning Sandoval. Check final picks for the final picks. I think Sandoval is I think he's the more dangerous fighter of the two, right? Rodriguez, he is a pretty good fighter, so I do think he's going to test Sandoval, which is why I'm really not sure if Sandoval lands the knockout, right? But Rodriguez doesn't have a whole lot of power. He has more. I think Julian upsets, right? See what I'm saying? Boom. He's more of an accumulation guy, right? So if he could take Sandoval into the deep waters, then that maybe that's advantage, Rodriguez. But I'm a Kane Sandoval believer, right? Haven't bet against Kane Sandoval yet. It ain't broke. I ain't gonna try to fix it, right? So I am leaning Kane Sandoval right now, but make sure you check Final Picks video later on. Omar Trinidad and Max or Nilas. This is going to be a good sleeper fight on this card. I'm not going to spend as much time on this as I did Sandoval Rodriguez. That Sandoval Rodriguez fight, I think that jump right there going to be fire. That's why I spent a little time on it. I'm excited to see what the odds are for that when they drop, right? We got Trinidad and Ornelas. I think this is slick sleeper fight. You know what I mean? On the card, I've been watching Omar Trinidad for a minute now. I do like him. He has a cousin. I think that's his cousin. Could be his brother. I think it's his cousin though. He has a cousin that fights Bird Knuckle as well. Snake Trinidad. He a bad motherfucker too, right? So these Trinidads do come from a fighting family. 29 years old, 5'9", 70-inch arm reach. He's a 19-0, 2 draws, 13 KOs. He's coming off a draw in his last fight over Lorenzo Para. Biggest victory will probably be Mike. Mike Palana, the Philippine fighter. 34 wins, 4 losses, right? Veteran of the sport, been fighting for a long time, former champion, right? So that's probably his best win. Mike Palana was a little worried about him in that fight. Not gonna lie to you. He fought Alexander Espinoza, right? But he's fighting Max Ornelius in this fight, 17-2, 1 draw, 6 KOs, 5'9" as well. His reach is not listed on BoxRec, right? He's coming out for knockout win over Luis Castro, right? 19-9. He has another win, UD win, Alexander Mina, right? 19-7. He lost a split decision to Floyd Diaz in 2023. I do remember that fight. He did test Floyd Diaz. Floyd Diaz is on this card as well. We're going to talk about him next. And he had a split decision loss to Hector Valdez as well, who was 15-0 at the time, right? So this is going to be another good fight. You know what I think? On paper, it looks kind of like a wash, right? But when you really, look at it in its roots, man, Max Cornelius very well could be live for upset, just like my guy think, Rodriguez could be live for upset. These are going to be really, really good sleeper fights on this card. Again, I'm leaning Trinidad in there. I'm kind of expecting both of those fights to go longer rather than it be knockouts, right? But it is a lean, at this point, right? But I'm thinking Trinidad should be able to get the win on the points, right? So I will go Trinidad decision win, right? You know what I mean? Right now, that's what I'm leaning, but that's gonna be a good fight as well. Just don't think Cornelius really has the power uh like that to really, really bother Trinidad. So Trinidad should be able to win the fight either way he feels comfortable with. Let me see. My guy home record said Andy Cruz. Shout out my guy home record. Y'all do your boy solid. Y'all subscribe to the channel if you're not. He's an Andy Cruz's chinny. Seen him wobble several times. I have seen him wobble a few times by lesser competition. And Muratalla King crack. That I 100% agree with as far as the Muratalla thing. Right. Andy Cruz, I have seen him hurt. Right. Now it was in those earlier fights. I'm talking about earlier fights with a guy who only had 6 fights, right? But I seen him crack earlier, right? Rather yeah, than later, right? But I have seen him, react to shots not so well, right? So I 100% agree with you there, home record, as far as that goes. So I think so 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 that let you know, like, right, how good these fights are this weekend, right? Because we got 2 people in the chat, and I think they on opposite sides in both fights. Floyd Diaz, right, who I mentioned earlier, he's fighting on this card as well. He's fighting Geralamo Gutierrez. Gutierrez is 13-2, one knockout, 27 years old, 5'7", from San Antonio, Texas, right? So I do know, a little bit about this guy, right? He fighting Floyd Diaz, right? Never really thought I'd kind of see that, right? Last guy he fought 6-10, 2-0, 9-2. He lost against the 9-2 guy, lost against the 4-2 guy, right? So pretty much when he does step up to people who are on his level or better, doesn't necessarily have the best outings, right? He's fighting Floyd Diaz, Cash Flow, right? I think he got one of the coolest nicknames in the game, right? He's fighting Floyd Diaz, Cash Flow, Floyd Cash Flow Diaz from Vegas. Floyd Mayweather roots kind of guy, right? Floyd Mayweather got people who he had, right? But I don't think he necessarily really put, what he needed to put in him, because it's the time Floyd Mayweather had damn near every good prospects and every good prospect in boxing right now going to those gyms and fight, you know, not necessarily signed under his umbrella, but under his tutelage, right? In those gyms, Shakur Stevenson, Adrian Broner, Floyd, Castro Diaz, Devontae Tank Davis, Devin Haney, don't know if I said Shakur Stevenson already, but Richardson Hitchens, right? Who else was in that gym? Mm, who else was it? It was a lot of people in there. Errol Spence, right? It was a lot of people in that gym, right? Castro Diaz is one of the people who kind of came up, through that Floyd Mayweather system. Has since ventured off, right? But I got Floyd Diaz over Gutierrez. Right? I think Floyd Diaz is a level above Gutierrez. Don't necessarily think he's going to be able to knock him out, because Floyd Castro really don't get knockouts like that. But I do think Floyd Diaz is going to win the fight. It's an 8-rounder. I think he'd be able to just pretty much outbox Gutierrez. Don't think Gutierrez is really on his level. Hopefully we can get, those odds around minus 500 or something like that. Maybe they'll mess with us because of Gutierrez's record, right? So maybe hopefully we can get that around minus 500 or something, right? But all right, main event, Callum Walsh and Carlos Ocampo, right? We got Carlos Ocampo, 38-3, 26 knockouts, has been stopped twice, 30 years old. Feels like Carlos Ocampo is older than that for as long as he's been fighting, right? But only 30 years old, 5'10 and a half, so we'll give him 5'11 with his 73-inch arm reach. His last fight, he beat Ricardo Carnice. Uh, Not the greatest level of competition, right? 18-13. Before that, he beat a guy 17-10. Before that, he knocked out a guy 8-7, right? Knocked all 3 of those guys out. He lost to Tim Tszyu in 2023, got knocked out in the first round. So since then, he hasn't really stepped up his competition, level to that Tim Zoo level or Sebastian Fundora level, right? Like he was fighting before that for Errol Spence back in the day, right? So when he does step up to the top level competition, you know, he loses, right? But what's good, Technique? Shout out my guy Technique. He said, I hope Maritime win. Okay, my bad. He said, but honest, I think Technique said, honest, I think Andy Cruz might win. Shout out my guy Technique. Appreciate you sliding through this thing. We've been on 15 minutes. I'm finna bring this thing on in, right? I got 10 more minutes, right? No, I got 10 more minutes. Really, I got like 15, right? We're gonna try to get it within 30 minutes. I want to get it within 25. Shout out my guy Technique, right? So just going off the way we all leaning right now, because we leaning right now. It's early in the week. Our minds may change, especially when you get good fights like this, right? Which is why I want y'all most definitely to tune in to find the pitch, because find the pitch is normally after the weigh-ins, right? So you get that full analysis of what's going on after the weigh-ins, after the press conference and all that. You get that full feeling analysis of what's going on. That's when I like to make, you know what I mean, my final picks after I've seen the weigh-in. So these are all leans, but these are all leans right now. But I do got a parlay, for y'all right now with what I'm leaning. Not going to bet it just yet. Hopefully the odds don't go away too. I mean, hopefully the odds don't blow up too bad later on in the week, right? But I do got something for y'all for show purposes to get y'all up out of here. And if y'all like UFC, I'm doing a UFC video after this, right? So make sure y'all stay tuned. Y'all come on back because UFC is next after this. But yeah, my bad. That's Carlos Ocampo. He's fighting Callum Walsh, 15-0, 11 KOs, 5'9.5" with a 71.5-inch arm reach, right? So first thing that I notice is um Callum Walsh is going to be giving up a lot of size in this fight. Callum Walsh is normally the bigger fighter in his fights. He's normally the bigger puncher in his fights, right? Both of those are in question, right? Will not be in size, right? Because size is not in question. Carlos Ocampo is the bigger guy. Is Callum Walsh the more powerful, the more dangerous fighter in this fight? In most of his fights, he will be considered the more dangerous guy. He's normally the bigger guy, right? We don't know necessarily, is he the more dangerous guy in this fight? Because Ocampo is dangerous, 26 knockouts again, not against the highest level of competition, right? But Callum Smith doesn't necessarily get the knockouts in his fights with the highest against the highest level of competition either. So hold on, record. All right, Callum Wash. Cooks here. Oh my bad. He's Ocampo has a nice job, a nice jab, and good experience. Right. He does. I agree absolutely with that. Ocampo does have a nice job, a nice jab. He could box, right? And he could crack, right? Callum Wash. I do think Callum Wash can box. I haven't necessarily seen him tested. You know what I mean? At the highest level. He beat Fernando Vargas, right? Would probably be his best win. You know what I mean? Ismael Valeria, right? Beat him by decision. Valeria is pretty good, right? Carlos Ocampo, again, been in the ring with Errol Spence, been in the ring with Tim Zoo, only for one round. Right? But when 12 with Sebastian Fundora, right? So I'm thinking, man, if you can go 12 with Sebastian Fundora, right? You know what I mean? You should be okay against Callum Marsh. Again, not overly confident in either side. It is alarming to me though, right? That I will say this: Callum Wash is up against it, right? If Callum Wash is going to be who we think he is, right? You're supposed to beat Carlos Ocampo, and you're supposed to beat Carlos Ocampo convincingly, right? Because the top fighters do, right? Sebastian Fundora beat him. Sebastian Fundora beat him. Right. Eric Spence stopped him. Tim Zoo stopped him. Right. So if you're going to take that next step, next step, right, you have to beat Carlos Ocampo and you have to beat him conventionally. I guess at this point, right, we could say Carlos Ocampo has become a bit of a gatekeeper, right? But I don't have methods for this fight, right? But I would say if I'm betting it, whatever the over is, if it's going to be, it's a 10 rounder, right? So I think over 8.5. I really don't think anybody is going to get stopped, right? I think a boxing match is going to break out, right? And I don't think either fighter is really going to be getting beat up enough, right, for the other one to really land the stoppage. Both these guys do have power, but I think a boxing match is going to break out. I think a boxing match is going to break out. Either Callum Walsh look like shit. Technique said I'm biased toward Callum. And like shit, he's been up right last time out. Foul. People forgot that. Apparently. Now this is going to be this is going to be a good one. This gonna be a good one, home record. Strictly out the fact, Carlos Ocampo is highly experienced. Like Callum Walsh doesn't possess anything that Carlos Ocampo hasn't seen, right? So if I'm going with the, if you ask me for a sure thing, right, I would say the over, right? And again, this is a lean right now. The value is with Carlos Ocampo, right? Callum Walsh is coming in at minus 500. I don't love those odds, right? If Callum Walsh comes out here and he dusts up Carlos Ocampo, right, makes it look easy. Don't even necessarily have to knock him out for me, right? But if he just, dominates him, if he just outboxes him, right, if he makes Carlos Ocampo looks like the guy who's inexperienced in this fight, uh, right? Then kudos to him. But Carlos Ocampo has been around the block or time or two, right? Talking about this guy like for Eric Spence when he was like 21 years old. When you really think back about it in hindsight, why the fuck was he in the ring with Eric Spence so early, right? You know what I mean? That first round knockout against Tim Tszyu didn't look great, right? But is Callum Walsh as dangerous as Tim Tszyu? I don't think so, right? So I think Carlos Ocampo will be okay. He was able to go 12 in Fedora. I'm leaning the over in this, right? So if it's a 10-round fight, the over is probably going to be 8.5. I like the over 8.5. All of the values with Carlos Ocampo, right? So if I'm gonna place a bet in this, if I'm going to place a single bet in this, it will probably be with Carlos Ocampo, right? For the experience. My pick though is going to be Callum Walsh. This is the Zuffa boxing card. This is going to be the first Zuffa boxing card of the year, right? The first Dana White card of the year. No, in my book, he minus 500 still. In your book, he minus 700. That's yeah, that's wild. But right, and if especially if it starts getting up to minus 700 and 800, yeah, it don't hurt at all to throw something on Ocampo, right? But my pick is Callum Walsh, and I'm picking Callum Walsh by decision, right? It's a lean right now. I like the over, right? I like it to go the distance, right? But for pick video, I am going to go with Callum Walsh. He's the A side in this, right? I don't think Dana White wants to start off his company with the fighter that he's had, the only fighter that he's had for about the last 3 or 4 years losing, right? So I think if Callum Walsh could just keep it close, make it look good, and get to the end in the boxing match, right? I think he'll get the decision. Nah, right there, right? So the pick is Carlos Ocampo in that fight over. I mean, the pick is Callum Walsh versus Carlos Ocampo, right? But I'm not mad at anybody betting on Carlos Ocampo, given the odds are terrible. The odds are terrible, right? I don't have odds on the over and under yet, right? But if it's a 10 rounder, the over and under 9 times out of 10 is going to be 8.5, right? Don't get odds on that yet. I'm just giving y'all, my picks for the video purposes because some people are probably only going to watch this. So I want to be, transparent in exactly what I'm saying and exactly what I'm betting and exactly what I'm doing. I haven't made a bet yet, right? But if I had to bet today, right, I will bet the over. The value is with Carlos Ocampo, right? Because I really not comfortable with taking Callum Walsh at minus 700, minus 500. Just don't make a lot of sense, right? But I do think he wins, right? Given the fact that it's a Zuffa boxing card, right? He said Callum Danny boy, they won't give him a fight. I think he might lose it. He said, "What's the odds on the over? Yeah, the odds not out yet, right? Right. You know what I mean? Technique. So I'm just leaning to the fact right now that he's the A side. If it's a close fight, like I think it's going to be, I think they'll lean Callum Walsh, right? Callum Walsh is giving up a lot of size in this fight, right? That gives me college power. That really got me thinking, right, about putting a little something on Carlos Ocampo, right? It really got me thinking about putting a little something on Carlos Ocampo, given that he's going to be bigger than Walsh. Walsh really hadn't fought guys like that yet, especially not to this level, right? So it's interesting when it comes to like where my money is going, right? My pick is Callum Walsh. I think he wins on decision, right? This is a Zuffa boxing card. I think Callum Walsh can box good enough to make the fight close enough to where they will give him the decision on his card. He's the A side, it's his show, right? So Callum Walsh, I think Callum Walsh wins by decision. Make sure you come for final picks to know what my final bet is, right? But right now, we're rolling with Callum Walsh for the win, right? So moving right along to the other card, right? Moving right along to the second card. We go do this within 5 minutes. We're gonna do this a little quicker, right? So Omari Jones is fighting Jerome Baxter on this card. Omari Jones should win it. Omari Jones won the bronze medal, right? Omari Jones for the win. Omari Jones knockout. Whatever those odds may be, they might be terrible. You got Madrimov fighting Luis David Shalazar, right? Shalazar is pretty good, right? Got a pretty record. At least hadn't fought anyone to Madrimov's level, right? Lost to Kevin Jones, and Madrimov should beat Shalazar. He should knock him out, right? We're going to go Madrimov for the win in his fight as well, right? So Myra Jones for the win, Madrimov for the win. This is the Andy Cruz Muratalla card, right? I'm trying to get us through there so we can talk more about, the main event fight, right? Uh we got Kalia Cole versus Jesse Hart. I am gonna spit on this for a split second. We gonna get this video with it. I already went for the 30. We try to do 35. I think my Amanda Serrano jump was like 35. So 35. I'm gonna be real with you. I think he's at homework. A lot of shady shit when he's on the UFC. Dana White has absolutely no problem fixing the fight. Yeah, but if he did just sign Jay Opatai, right? I was just gonna say if Callum Smith loses, then who is he really going to have to push, right? But he's had Callum Smith so long, right? I think they have a better relationship. You know what I mean? Than that, right? But he did just sign Jay Opatai, right? So he does have Jay Opatai to push now, rather than Callum Smith, right? It'll look real terrible. The first boxing fight card he has, his fighter loses. So I don't think Dana White wants to make himself look bad, right? So I think Callum will be able to get this win to start off the Zuffa boxing, right? He doesn't have a problem fixing the fight, right? I don't necessarily think this will be the one that he fixed, right? But again, like I said, I have no problem with anybody taking a shot on Carlos Ocampo. I may throw a little money on Carlos Ocampo as far as the bet wise, just for the value. All the values with Carlos Ocampo. You know what I mean? But my pick for the fight is Callum Walsh decision, right? Right now, that's my pick. Make sure you check the final picks, live that I do, because I do final picks. But right now, the lean is Callum Walsh punch, right? If I'm betting it today, I think it goes the distance. I would say bet the over, right? So if this is the last video that you watch, I'm telling you to bet the over. If you're going to do a bet, I'm telling you to bet the over. All right, because I do think it goes on whether Ocampo or Callum Walsh win, right? The distance may be even better value at a point, right? So the bets, my bet, if you only hear this video, if you don't come back for the final predictions, bet the over, right? Or bet the fight to go the distance. It's a 10 rounder. I think it goes long. I think it's gonna turn to a boxing match, right? As far as the Wash and Ocampo go, right? As far as that go. But I digress. I digress. The pick is Callum Wash decision though, right? But if you go bet it today, you only hear this, bet the over. Because I got decision, right? So makes sense. But anyway, I digress. Kalia Cole, Jason Hart. This fight got pushed back. It was supposed to happen last year. I got Kalia Cole to stop Jesse Hart, right? I respect Jesse Hart. I like the work Jesse Hart put in. He's a veteran guy. It kind of feel like Kalia Cole looked great in his last fight. He beat the guy. He beat the guy that knocked him. He stopped the guy that stopped him, gave Kalia Cole his first loss. He rematched him instantly, right? Immediate rematched him, stopped him, styled on him, looked great. Looked like I thought he would look the first time he fought him, right? You could tell that he really wasn't locked in. He took it more serious that second time, styled on him, right? He's fighting Jesse Hart. To me, this kind of feels like a showcase fight for Kalia Cole. Jesse Hart can box, but he hadn't been fighting Kalia Cole's level of competition. He was out for a while. He had a couple fights, and a couple quick fights, and then boom, he's fighting Kalia Cole. It kind of feels like a showcase fight, a setup fight, for Kalia Cole. A little bit to me though. I respect to Jesse Hart, but I do got Kalia Cole to win this fight, and I'm thinking Kalia Cole bad knockout. Kalia Cole is a knockout. Kalia Cole to win his fight will probably be my lock pick of the week, right? I know that pick isn't going to change. That isn't a lean, right? That's a lock pick. Kalia Cole will be my lock pick for the week. And I'm going Kalia Cole knockout. Whatever the odds may be on that Kalia Cole knockout, I am going to take it. I don't think Kalia Cole's going to come in and try to play with his food. Even when he was quote unquote playing with his food and got stopped himself, he was still in there banging, right? So I think even if a banging match breaks out, I don't think Jesse Hart at this point in his career, at this age, is prime enough to be Kalia Cole. So even if a fight breaks out, I think Kalia Cole wins that. I don't think he'll be able to outbox Kalia Cole. Kalia Cole is highly skilled, so is Jesse Hart, right? But Kalia Cole is just a younger, primer, better, more stronger version of Jesse Hart at this point, right? So Kalia Cole for the win. Appreciate you, my guy. Appreciate you. Homewrecker said it's about the money more than it's about building Fight's career. If you bet on UFC, I already know that. Callum Walsh is in jail Patel. Not too many folks care about Callum Walsh at this point. Yep. So Homewrecker, are you betting? So but you already said you taking Ocampo, right? You already said you taking Ocampo. Shout out to my guy Homewrecker. I'm gonna be live when the fight's going on, man. So make sure you come through, right? Because we be live during the fight card. So make sure you come through for the actual fight card. Make sure you come through for the final picks. Sometimes final picks is, actual fight day, right? I do that sometimes as well, right? So make sure you come back fight day and we be live for fight day as well. Right. I'm not mad at nobody taking if you actually betting because okay, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm getting at myself. Same shit you saying, that's exactly what I'm getting at as far as the bet go. I ain't mad at nobody. I had to quit betting. You see, quit betting on UFN. Now sometimes you just like you see what you're doing now. You see how you playing it. He don't mind throwing fight. Just bet. It's more valuable to take Ocampo. So you could still parlay fucking Callum Wash. You could parlay Callum Wash money line and still bet on Ocampo as a single. And if you do, you'll get more money if Ocampo win, right? Callum Wash parlay with some more fights that you believe in. Let's say he the first leg on your parlay. You got Callum Wash, Muratalla, and you got Kalia Cole, right? Callum Wash, you put Callum Wash, Kalia Cole, Muratalla together, right? I'm just being, just saying in general, right? Boom. That parlay will get you plus 200. Shit, Ocampo by itself already plus 400. So putting a little something on Ocampo for value, you'll still win just as much as if Callum Wash win and their parlay win. You get what I'm saying? So it ain't shit wrong with betting like that. If you got a half a unit, put 25 on the parlay, put 25, on the single that could go, right? Or put 10 on it, dog, and put 10 on cheese, or 25 on cheese and 25 on, Carlos Ocampo. At the end of the night, it might work out for you. Because if both dogs win, you would profit way more than your parlay. You could just put like a half a unit on a parlay. If you bet in the full unit, half a unit on a parlay, 25 on the dogs you think may fuck up the parlay. Can't lose. I do it every week. Can't lose, my brother. Can't lose, my brother. But this is a pick show, so we make picks here, right? And final bets are different. You know what I mean? Betting and picks are different. I can bet the over and Carlos Ocampo, Callum Wash, and still pick Callum Wash to win. You know what I mean? I could say Callum Wash is going to win, but realize minus 700 holds no value and throw a little something on Carlos Ocampo to win because it's plus 500, right? That's where all the value is at, right? We bets and picks are two different things. That's what I tell people. The bets and the pick. You got bets, you got picks, right? You know what I mean? But I digress. What's good, DS? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, right? The bet right now is the over though. Bet the over, whatever it is when it drop. If you only listen to this video, I think the fight goes long. Bet the over with Carlos Ocampo and Callum Wash. I'm picking Callum Wash to win the fight by decision, right? The bet is going to be the over. And I'm not mad at nobody who put a little something on Carlos Ocampo because I might do it myself too because these odds are crazy. These odds are crazy. He said if Callum Wash comes out there and doesn't let his hands go, something shady is up. Oh, yeah, you saying Dana White fixed it in the inside with Callum. They all fixed it. If you come out there and don't let his hands go. You said it'll be fixed from the inside then, huh? You said it'll be fixed from the inside. Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to get you. You got to come back to the UFC video. But we got Muratalla and we got Andy Cruz. Let me go and close this thing out, man. We got to go 48 minutes. We got to go 48 minutes now at this point, right? We got to go 48 minutes. We done win 35, so we go past that marker, right? We done passed that marker, right? But yeah, live bet, like that's why I be here live too. We live bet. I do the live shows, the actual fight day. I be here nigga about 2 hours before the actual fight start, right? So we be here doing live shows. We live bet here too. So we hit on live bets and whatnot. This is a real, if you like ESPN, you gonna love it here. Right. I'm gonna drop you my picks early in the week. I'm gonna drop my daily picks, in the shorts, and the updates gonna be in the shorts, right? And I'm gonna be live for all of the fight cards, right? You know what I mean? So cool little program over here, man. Cool little small community, about 5,000 or 800 people, right? Cool little small community, man. But we get the job done. You know what I mean? We get the job done. You feel me? But I digress. Shout out to my boy Hart. Let's get to Cruz. Let's get to Andy Cruz and Raymond Muratalla before we go to the UFC stream, because we still got UFC to do tonight, right? Now the UFC stream might take an hour, right? I'm trying to have it within 30 minutes, 45 minutes as well. But we gotta do UFC too. You know what I mean? After this, right? So if you're here right now, make sure you come back for the UFC stream. If y'all remind me, I dropped the UFC stream in here. Y'all can just click the link in here and it'll take y'all straight to the UFC stream. If y'all wanted me to do that, y'all just let me know, right? But let's get to this main event, man. Raymond Cheese Muratalla versus Andy Cruz. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a fight. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a fucking fight. Ladies and gentlemen, real boxing is back. All right, so let me holler at y'all. Let me hit y'all with this. I think Andy Cruz is the better boxer in this fight. Right? I think Raymond Muratalla is the more dangerous fighter in this fight. We've seen Cruz get buzzed. We've actually seen Cheese get dropped. Now, it was a flash knockdown. He wasn't hurt. While Cruz never been dropped, I have seen Cruz hurt, right? Cheese has been dropped. Never seen him hurt, right? I think Cruz is the better technical boxer. I think Cheese is more dangerous. And fights like this are always interesting, right? Always fun to call. Cheese has boxing ability as well. We've seen Cheese have to go in his bag and use his boxing ability, right? When we're comparing it, see, ever been there? How about yourself? I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. Now I've been to Alabama before, right? Not that part of Alabama, but I have been to Alabama before. I'm a Crimson Tide fan. That's why I rock the Bama. See, I got the Grizzly hat on. I'm from Memphis, right? Crimson Tide, my favorite football team, along with the Memphis Tigers, right? All the Memphis teams are my favorite. And then, I got all the Memphis teams are my home teams, right? They're my favorite teams. But, I got my little side teams because my home team and my favorite teams, can be different. I can't pick my home team. I can pick my favorite team. Alabama is my favorite team. Memphis Tigers is my home team. But I digress. Shout out my guy. Appreciate you sliding through. Subscribe to the channel for me, G. Subscribe to the channel for me, G. I don't know if you subscribe to the channel, but I greatly appreciate you sliding. You subscribe to the channel for me, G. Shout out my guy Home Record for coming through this joint, chopping up this good boxing, for me. We gonna do UFC too, my brother. So make sure you come to I'm gonna go live as soon as this joint in, right? So make sure you come back, right? Make sure you come back. I'm gonna run this joint 8 more minutes, right? We gonna do this on 48 minutes. I'm gonna do the UFC 48 minutes. So we might go 48 minutes on both. But I digress, right? I'm already. So appreciate you, Home Record. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, G. But yeah, man. So interesting fight. Now let's go to the breakdown, right? This so we can size them up, right? Height, reach, and all that good stuff. All that good stuff. Raymond Muratalla, who is the IBF interim champion in this fight, right? 29 years old, 5'8", 72-inch arm reach. He beat Zaire Abdullah in his last fight, who was 20-1. Jesus Campos before that stopped him in the second round, beat Tevin Farmer by unanimous decision in 2024. And that was, I think, a better version of Tevin Farmer than, Tevin Farmer was in his last fight, right? I think right around that Cheese fight is where Tevin Farmer, Cheese and Tevin Cheese took a lot out of Tevin Farmer, right? You know what I mean? Took a lot out of him. And then he went into that fight with Jose Zepeda, right? I think he fought a pretty good version of Tevin Farmer, right? He also fought Indogeni, right? Indogeni is a good fighter as well. German Nakatila. So Cheese does have, no, I said Cheese does have, the better resume in this. He's the younger fighter, but he does have the better pro resume in this. I mentioned that earlier, right? Narjagini, Tevin Farmer, Zaire Abdullah, not elite level. Tevin Farmer, I will consider him elite, right? Uh, right. Maybe not at that point. Cheese fought him, but still pretty goddamn good, right? So Tevin Farmer, high level fighter, right? Zaire Abdullah, good fighter, mid to good level fighter, right? Genie, good fighter, former champ, right? So he does have a pretty nice resume, especially when you compare it to Andy Cruz, right? Andy Cruz 6-0, 3 KOs, 30 years old, same height at 5'9". His reach is not listed. He beat Hunter Mishiro, right? Knocked him out in the fifth. Pretty impressive, right? But Mishiro, I think, was more so, a record. Didn't really have a whole lot of power like that. There was a guy, Andy Cruz, who go in there and practice his power punching on, right? Cruz been working with Jerome Boost in his Pops Bowes in his right, getting his getting his pro level fighting skills together, right? He's probably one of the best amateurs to ever do it, right? Maybe one of the best amateurs of all time, right? Andy Cruz, if we being real, right? Right. So he's getting his pro level game together with Bowes and Ennis, and I think that's the right guy to go to if you want to learn how to inflict damage, right? Be Omar Cecito, UD stopped Antonio Moran, who I think is pretty good as well, right? So he got Moran, Omar, Cecito, right? Minashiro. He'll be fighting Raymond Muratalla. Again, just to get it, don't get it started, get it popping, y'all. I don't think anyone's getting knocked out, right? So I do think this fight is going the distance, right? So y'all might not like this, but my bet in this fight is going to be this fight to go the distance. Right, that would be the bet today. If you only see this video today, right now, take this fight to go to distance because I don't think anybody is going to get stopped. Don't think I don't mean anybody's going to get knocked down or hurt, right? But I don't think anybody's going to get stopped. If somebody does get stopped, it'll be like they'll catch them in between on the counter shot. It'll be an instant knockout that I think nobody saw coming, right? Possible stoppage, maybe. Cruz is chinning. Maybe Muratalla can touch his chin, but I think even if Muratalla do touch his chin, Cruz will be able to figure out and find the answer unless he knocks him smooth completely out. And I think Cruz has good enough defense. And I don't think he's going to try to press Muratalla at any point. Really, I don't think he's going to try to be too aggressive. I think he's going to take his time and box. I really do, because I think he has to. I think he understands the danger that Cheese brings. I think if Cheese is going to beat Cruz, he's going to have to outbox Andy Cruz. And I do think he's athletic enough to do it. But it's going to be a hell of a job for him to do it, right? In this fight, I'm leaning Andy Cruz to win this fight on the points. I think he could be safe. He could be defensively sound. And it's going to be interesting to see if he's how the speed works, right? If Cheese is quick enough, right? Because if Andy has a massive speed advantage on Cheese, Muratalla, then I think Cheese can be in for a long night if Andy can hit and not be hit, right? The Cheese is athletic, right? But I'm not sure if you put him in there with Andy, is his athleticism going to shine through, going to be able to shine through on a guy like Andy, right? You know what I mean? Home Record said, I want to know you guys' opinion on it, bro. Man, okay, I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna let you know. You gotta wait for next week for that, my brother. You gotta wait for next week for that, my brother. I do it week by week. I ain't gonna drop it early, right? I got technique said he's not outboxing Cruz. He has to knock him out, and he might do it. I think that is Cheesy's shot at victory, right? He will have to knock out Andy Cruz, right? I can't sit here and say, that I'm comfortable with it. That'll probably get you a lot of money though. Cheese to win this fight by knockout. It'll probably get you a lot of money, right? But I do think there will be his out to do this, right? I think there will be his out to do this, right? I think that's the way that Cheese will have to win this fight. And me personally, I'm not ready to say that he does that, right? Which is why my pick is going to be Andy Cruz, right? I'm picking Andy Cruz to win this fight. I do think it goes to Disney. I think Cruz wins on points, right? But right now, today, if you only see this video, if you never come back, you don't come back for the final picks after weigh-in, you don't come back for the fight live stream on the day of the fight night, I would say take the over in this fight as well. It's a 12-round fight, so the over probably is going to be 10 and a half, right? Because if Cruz stops him, I think if Cheese stops him, I think it'll be late. But I'm going to lean with the boxing ability of Cruz, and I'm going to lean with the fact that I'm thinking Cruz can stay safe. I think it's a version of Andy Cruz in this fight that can win this fight without really engaging with Muratalla at all, right? I think it's a version in this fight. Cruz, now I haven't seen them in the ring together yet, right? But what I'm thinking is Cruz is going to be a lot sharper than Raymond Muratalla. I think Raymond Muratalla is going to be gritty enough, gutty enough, and he can box. But I think Cruz is going to be sharper, right? So I am thinking it goes to this, and I'm thinking Cruz wins on decision, right? It's a lean right now, but I'm picking Cruz to win, right? So if y'all asking me who my winners, who I'm picking to win the fight, I got Walsh, I got Kalia Cole, I got Sandoval, I got Trinidad, Madrimov, Omari Jones, right? Parlay. If you want me to just give you four, you want me to give you something to take home, right? I think both main events are going distance, right? But I think Wash wins. Um, I think Madrimov wins. I think Kalia Cole wins, and Andy Cruz. Right now, if you put those together, that's plus 100, right? So Andy Cruz, Kalia Cole, Callum Wash, Madrimov, right? Four winners, right? I give you four winners right now. Put those together, that'll give you plus 100, right? But if you don't want to do that, right? If you got it now, that's if you want to make something now, right? But again, I would say bet. I would say bet Wash and Ocampo over. I would say bet Cruz and Muratalla over. Madrimov, Kalia Cole. Kalia Cole knockout will be my lock pick of the week. That's the one I'm most confident in. I like Kalia Cole to win. My most confident pick. Kalia Cole knockout, right? My most confident prop, right? So Kalia Cole is my most confident pick of the week. Ask me for one pick of the week. One thing I think will happen. Kalia Cole wins, right? Kalia Cole knockout, right? So Kalia Cole, Madrimov, this is the bet, right? Kalia Cole, Madrimov, take Andy Cruz, Muratalla over, take Callum Wash, Ocampo over. That'll get you the plus money right there. Skin the Hardaway Southern T. This ain't the past, this ain't the future, but this the present. That's how we rocking. And I'm out. Look, make sure you subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a friend. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. There's just something for me to, to get y'all for the thing, right? Not when you parlay it, home record. Not when you parlay it. You can take them KO if you want to. Take Majimo KO if you want a little more juice, right? Don't know what the odds is, right? But that's if you want to make something today. For sure. Appreciate y'all folks sliding through.